Hi everyone, can everyone hear me okay? I know it might be a bit of a struggle at the back, but we got the stalls in here, so. I just firstly want to thank Alex and all the team who have put this fantastic festival together. I think it's going to be an absolutely awesome day with some awesome stalls and some amazing food to devour. So well, I was actually just going to briefly introduce Happy Hooves, but only just before me. So I think the simplest way for everyone to get an understanding is to watch the video that we have. My name's Rick. We're at Happy Hooves Farm Sanctuary in Gidgee. We got our first rescue, which was little Gilligan, which was a 3-day-old merino lamb who was abandoned. And we got him, but then we got thinking about, you know, the sanctuary side and helping out these animals. So we came here with 2 goats that we'd rescued, Gilligan and 5 other sheep. We've now got over 100 animals in basically a little under 4 years. Now we've got almost 50 sheep. We've got, I think, 16 or 18 goats, 11 pigs, lots of chickens, guinea fowl, a really loud duck. And essentially they're animals that have come to us from various sources. They come from shires, abandoned, or, you know, are found roaming the streets. They come from just driving around here. We come across animals that are lost. We contact the owners. Some of them have been injured. The farmers don't want to spend the money on the animals because that's essentially is cost that they don't want to bear. They come from neglect cases, they come from some cases abused, which, you know, is quite unusual for a farm animal, but we have had a couple. And the pigs come from this people, you know, perception that you can have a thing such as a miniature pig that grow into these, you know, 180 kilo monsters that just want to dig everything up in sight. Lambs, of course, we're coming into lambing season now, so we're going to be probably inundated with lambs in the next probably 2 to 3 months. This year we're also going to end up with some bobby calves as well. So yeah, there's a fair few more babies coming in, and the babies of course take up a lot of time because you've got to feed them, they don't have their mums, you've got to do it yourself. Their regular feeds, depending on how old they are, it could be every 2 hours, so you know, it's a lot of time and effort. The donation side is one thing because, you know, of course we need the finances to help to run the place, but the volunteer side is just massive because it makes a huge difference to actually have that support when people come along, and even if it's 2 or 3 hours, they come along and help clean up, or they come and weed, or they come and just do any of the, you know, pick up shit. There's plenty of that to be picked up. And it just makes a massive difference. But another area that we're trying to focus on now is the rehoming side, which is something that we do together with a couple of the other sanctuaries. That's where we try and look at rehoming animals because otherwise we're just going to get full up. We came here with 6 animals. We've now got over 100, so I mean that's in 3.5 years. So let's go another 3.5 years. If we keep going the way we're going, we're going to have over 200. I mean, 150 acres is a lot of space, but you can't overgraze. You've got to watch about, you know, so you've got pasture management, you've got worm control, because otherwise the animals will get sick. So there's a lot to it. So it's 150 grand a year just to feed the animals, to pay for the staff, all the insurance is required, vets. We spend probably 45 grand a year on vets. We had a lady coming down from Geraldton with her family, and she lives in Gidgee, and she picked up a piglet on the side of the road. We called him Parker because we were trying to come up with a name that was like a superhero, so we came up with Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And he came to us, and when he got here, he basically had a broken rear leg, and his whole leg had been skinned. So we believe he had fallen off the back of a truck. That's what we believe it happened. But some pigs in particular, and we've got 2, they've got really big round eyes, and they're almost human-like. And when they look at you, they just look straight through you. And that's what Parker was like. And he was just looking at us going, you know, help us, help me, please, help me. And he was in a huge amount of pain. He was trying to walk around with his leg. So he didn't make it. They had to put him down. But that was $3,500 to try and save a pig, which we'll do. I mean, we won't even think about it. That's what we're here to do. But that's the reality of, what happens here. And I guess we also have to question, why do we have to do it? We try and get the word out to everyone to think about, their choices and think about, what they do with, what they eat and what they consume and what actually happens in the world, and just open up your eyes. And I'm not a pushy vegan to the point where I'm going to slam down your throat that you should stop eating meat. You have to make your own choice. But you should open your eyes and you should understand what goes on. Then make your choice after that. But don't just block it out and go, no, it doesn't happen, because it does. We see a lot of stuff around here just in the local area that is common farming practices, and farmers totally and utterly believe that that's acceptable, and it's acceptable because that's what happens. But it's not acceptable from our point of view, and if a sheep or a goat or a pig or whatever could talk, I don't think they would find it acceptable either. Anyone who's ever had a beloved pet that they have achieved closest with can attest to the fact that animals are deeply emotional and sentient, and can display a full plethora of personality traits. If you think about your cat, your dog, your horse, or whatever close companion animal you share your life with, you'll no doubt attest to the fact that they know what's going on, they figure us out, they give us love and play. They also get grumpy and angry just as we do. They get fearful when they go to the vets and when they face any adversity, and they definitely avoid pain as much as you or I. So this is really the kicker. These animals that we call farm animals, individuals as cows, sheep, pigs, chickens, turkeys, goats, ducks, whatever, they are absolutely no different at all. And I think what you saw in the video there attests to that. Each and every one of those animals are individuals in the exact same capacity as the animals that we call pets. The only difference is how we perceive them. I think I touched in there how we really started out with our first lamb, Gilligan. I mean, he'd lost his mum, he was scrawny, he was 3 days old when he got in, and he was near death, he was just skin and bones. But we pulled him through, and he's still alive now, he's 6 years old. And he showed us through everything that he went through exactly the personality that these animals have. I mean, there was one point where we had a chili plant at the back of our place, and he decided that he would chew on it one day. And he made it through, but he wasn't a very happy boy after he had it. But all he wanted to do was sit on your lap and have a pat and a cuddle and just help him through it, and that's what he did. So really, thanks to Gilligan, our eyes were opened to the true nature of farm animals, no different to the pets that we have at home in our backyard. Basically, I think the video explains exactly, who Happy Hooves are, and then also what we go through, what Greener Pastures go through, and then also what Possum Valley goes through. I guess the point that I want to elaborate on is the support that we need, which I did talk about there with volunteering. The donation side is fantastic. It's expensive to keep these animals going and to keep them, especially with respect to the vet side. But it's the rehoming side that we really have to concentrate on, because even though we've got land to keep these animals, on average, if they are well and live out their natural course of their life, most of them will live till 15, 20 years plus. So together with Possum Valley and Greener Pastures, and then also a few other rescue groups out there and animal welfare groups in our Hart and Perth Farm Animal Save, we started a collective called New Homes for Rescued Farm Animals, or NERFA. We're going to reach that capacity at some stage if we don't get people on board to help us out with this, and that's in the nature of having people to help us do vet runs, pick up sick animals, take them to the vet, or bring home the animals who have been treated. We'll also need people to pick up equipment or medications to deliver them to sanctuaries. And what we're really wanting to get off the ground is to get people to help us out with the new people who are going to be rehoming these animals, and we're going to be starting some classes where we're going to help train the people on the traits of the animals and what to look out for when you go inspect the animal at a place that's looking to rehome, to see what sort of condition they're in and if they're okay to be rehomed, and then also to help us out inspecting the properties, because we have to make sure that the animals are the right fit for the new home that they're going to, as much as they want the animal and they are going to look and care for them. I mean, our time is valuable, as everyone else's is, but our time is best spent with the animals at the sanctuaries and looking after them and keeping that going. So if you come to the Happy Hooves stands at the back of at the hall here, we've got some sign-up sheets, and I can talk to you more about it if you're interested. Just if you're interested in volunteering on that side. If you also go and see Greener Pastures and Possum Valley, they've also got tour days and volunteer spots and stuff that you can go and sign up there for as well. Essentially, you've seen why we've started this sanctuary. I mean, but the thing is, that doesn't fix the problem. This problem really is bigger than all of us. It needs every single one of us to really have a think about how we can help. And that's whether you're helping at the sanctuaries, or you're donating, or you're volunteering time, or you're working with any of the other animal advocacy groups. If every one of us think about our choices and think about what we're putting on our plates and what we're buying, that's going to help us sanctuaries the most, because we started with a handful of animals when we took on the sanctuaries, and we've now got over 100. Possum Valley have almost 100, and Greener Pastures have over 100 as well. So, but we're only just scratching the surface with the issues and the problems out there. So I think that's really the main message I want to get across, is that we really need to collectively consider what we're doing with our choices day to day to then make a difference to all of us, and of course a difference to the animals. So thanks very much and enjoy the day.